The compact SUV segment is so overcrowded that despite the Tiguan being VW's bestseller in the US, it goes pretty much unnoticed. And while it's not bad, it's not great either. But for 2026, the all-new Tiguan is undoubtedly going to be a headache for the likes of the Hyundais, Kias, and Mazdas of the world. Speaking of Mazda, the CX-50 is exactly what the Tiguan is supposed to tackle. But with its primary focus being on the way it drives, does it leave room in other aspects for the VW to dethrone it as the go-to choice for many buyers? Well, that's exactly what you'll find out by the end of this video. So, without any further ado, let's jump into it. Forget everything you knew about the old model. The moment you encounter the new Tiguan, you will immediately realize that this is a completely new generation. The new model's front end is anchored by a much larger grille and accented by a lot of non-functional air inlets. The headlights are now slimmer and less angular, with DRL lighting signatures extending towards the VW logo, which is now also illuminated just on VW's EV lineup. From the side, there are no sharp lines compared to the previous generation, with subtle sculpting through the door panels. The wheel arches, however, have been made slightly more angular with a squircle shape. As for wheels, it comes standard with 17 inches, with 18s, 19s, and 20s optional. All wheel options have been redesigned. Out back, again, it's been completely redone, featuring a massive light bar that mirrors the one up front and spans the entire width of the tailgate, connecting new slimmer taillights while also illuminating the VW logo. As for the CX-50, it seems like Mazda always tries to have its own unique take on things. Take the front end, for example. The way the front grille is shaped, being broad and horizontal in conjunction with the massive air inlets on each corner, emphasizes its width and give it a grounded stance. The headlights, on the other hand, just fit seamlessly as opposed to the Tiguan's more traditional approach. From the side, the long hood gives it a much more refined look than the traditional upright design of other SUVs in its segment. The lower roofline also makes it seem much longer, even if it's only 2 inches longer than the Tiguan. The only complaint is that the base model can look basic compared to other trims with its smaller 17-inch wheels and the cheaper plastic treatments compared to those found on better-spec models. Out back, the taillights have a depth to them with the same circular theme found up front, again emphasizing just how wide the CX-50 is. Overall, the proportions are what really sell the CX-50, giving it a significant road presence without being shouty or compromising on its good ground clearance. At least personally, while the new Tiguan is better looking than the one it replaces, the CX-50 is just in a league of its own, as it's always been with Mazda products. Jumping inside, instead of the old Tiguan's somewhat basic design, this generation is completely new. There is a layer of luxurious materials that extends from one door across the dash and to the other door that provides the cabin with a sense of coziness. Heck, VW even decided to add some American walnut wood trim to the dash to further spice things up. There is a lot of shiny piano black trim that you'll have to keep clean, but within it is ambient lighting that illuminates in a cool graphical effect with up to 30 different colors. VW also seems to have heard its customers' feedback and has implemented actual buttons in the steering wheel. But on the other hand, they regressed with climate controls as they are now integrated into the screen. New for this year is a rotary knob sitting between the front seats that can switch from adjusting the stereo volume and driver mode settings. As for infotainment, gone are last year's tiny 6.5 or 8-inch screens in favor of a new 12.9 inches display for lower trims or a massive 15 inches on higher-end models. A 10.3-inch digital driver display is now standard across the line. The new system is great with sharp graphics and a responsive interface with both Apple CarPlay and Android Auto standard. Climb into the CX-50 interior and there is an elegance that's just typical of Mazda. The dashboard is clean and simple, favoring straight lines to once again emphasize the width of the interior. Dark leather is draped throughout the cabin, helping the CX-50 feel incredibly premium, especially with contrast piping and stitching on the seats. Almost every touchpoint is crafted from soft touch materials too. One niggle, however, is the strip of plastic surrounding the horizontal vent in the dashboard. Mazda's designers didn't go far enough to make the vent hidden, but this doesn't take away from the fact that it's a very pleasant space to spend time in. As for infotainment, it's one area where it falls short of the Tiguan. All but the base model comes standard with a 10.25-inch widescreen display. Most functions, including operating the navigation system, are done with the control knob. The standard Apple CarPlay and Android Auto can be operated via touch. The gauge cluster is another downside compared to the Tiguan. It's just a basic small screen in the middle for speedometer and other basic functions. When it comes to passenger cargo space, the new Tiguan is slightly longer than the previous model at 187 inches. And while the seats are all new with more aggressive thigh and shoulder bolsters, they can feel a bit hard for longer journeys. The seat backs are just as spacious with plenty of head and legroom, with the center seat integrated an armrest as standard. Cargo space is also decent, with around 28 cubic feet available when the rear seats are up, or 59 with them folded flat. The CX-50, on the other hand, doesn't really translate its outer dimensions into a usable space inside, mainly due to the front end and general proportions that make it as appealing as it looks. The seats are supportive and offer a large range of adjustments, ensuring good comfort comparable to that in the Tiguan. The panoramic moonroof allows more sunlight into the cabin. The rear doors open 90 degrees, and the nearly flat floor means seating for 3 is possible. As for cargo space, it's a bit better and worse than the Tiguan. With the seats up, you will find 31.4 cubic feet. Drop them down, and you will have 56.3 cubic feet to work with. As far as pricing goes, the 2026 Tiguan S starts at $29,500. But the trim level to get is the SE, which combines a good mix of equipment on price, though it doesn't look anywhere near as good as the R-line models. It includes newly redesigned 19-inch alloys, powered tailgate, 8-way powered driver's seat, dual-zone climate control, and remote start. The top SEL R-line goes for $40,500. Pricing for the 2026 Mazda CX-50 starts at around $29,900, but you should go with the S Meridian Edition model. It comes standard with all-wheel drive, dual-zone climate control, heated front seats, a powered driver's seat, and a larger 10.25-inch infotainment screen with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. As you can tell, both SUVs cost around the same, so which one you end up choosing will mainly depend on the styling and how they drive. When it comes to on-road performance, under the hood of the new Tiguan is a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine that now makes 201 horsepower, up from the previous generation's 184. This new model's dimensions hit a sweet spot because it's big enough that you get a spacious interior, but it's not so big that it's intimidating to drive around the city. Visibility is pretty good, and you sit high for a commanding view of the road ahead. The comfort and refinement largely continues out on the highway, where the Tiguan is quiet at higher speeds. The suspension continues to deal with bumps well on the whole here, but there is some road noise to contend with, especially on the top-spec models with 20-inch alloy wheels. Lower trims are a bit quieter though. Like everything Mazda makes with more than 2 seats, the CX-50 comes with a choice of two 2.5-liter engines, one naturally aspirated and one turbocharged. And the turbo variant is the better option, with ample power at 227 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque on 87-octane fuel. Fill it up with premium, however, and the CX-50 throws down 250 horsepower and 320 pound-feet of torque. All that power routes through a 6-speed automatic to a standard i-Active all-wheel drive system. With predictable handling and sports car accurate steering, the CX-50 is a pleasure to hustle through corners. The suspension's tune feels a bit softer than the CX-5's, resulting in more body roll, but the wider track and lower seating position help offset the additional side-to-side movement, and the ride quality benefit is noticeable. A top-trim Premium Plus package-equipped model can cost over $43,000, which is pretty high for this class, but not really unheard of. But when you consider it as a whole package, and with its attractive brown leather and contrast stitching, the CX-50's cabin is considerably nicer to look at and even touch than anything else in the mainstream segment. Now, which one to get? Well, I think this is a tough one. But really, if driving engagement is all you care about, then the CX-50 is the easy choice here, especially for those who want something more than just a commuter. But the new Tiguan as a package is nothing to scoff at. It's certainly a contender, especially with its superior tech and more powerful standard engine.